Welcome to the Millennium Marriage Podcast,
where we discuss practical tools and insights into the joys and challenges of marriage. Welcome back to the Millennium Marriage Podcast. We are your hosts. You know us. You see us sometimes.
Do they?
Well, maybe.
Some of them.
One day you'll see.
I'm Toya.
Yeah, I'm Jose. and we're back. Another episode. It's going by fast.
It has.
Season 2 starting and going.
Yeah, it's almost over.
Yeah,
Sorry, guys.
We got 3 more episodes.
Something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. But today we are here. We're discussing something that I know we had to go through, being from 2 different cultures. And we're going to call it colliding cultures because, you know, when you first get involved, you don't really know what's going to happen and where it's going to lead you to.
And sometimes our backgrounds and our cultures collide. Like it can be like,
yeah,
explosive. Sometimes they blend well, and sometimes it's a mix of both.
Yeah.
So that's kind of been our journey, like some ups, some downs, some figuring some things out that we hadn't thought of before. And we want to discuss that with a couple of our friends, Jenn and Shai Henry. Thank you both for agreeing to join us today. How you guys doing today?
Good. Thank you for having us.
Yes, we're good. Thank you.
Awesome. Also known as We the Henrys. Okay.
Man, listen.
If you're on TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, all that, look them up.
You got to follow. It is
hilarious.
It is complete comedy.
It's all right. All right.
They are amazing. We normally so when we have guests, we normally like to start with kind of the origin story for your relationship, for you guys together. Like where did it all start?
You start that. You tell it the best.
So we both played basketball at Wilmington University. I was a year older than Shai, and my senior year we always competed about stats, and we were very competitive, and we were friends. And then, you know, we started to build a relationship and started dating, and so that was 2015. And then after that, we got saved together in 2016, and then we got married in 2018, and now we just hit 4 years of marriage, and we have a daughter due next month. Thank you.
Whoop, whoop. Baby girl coming.
Absolutely. It's coming fast.
Absolutely.
Yes.
That's awesome. So let me ask you this. You guys started out as friends being competitive, and I know as athletes, you probably have those competitive spirits. Do you still have things that you do at home where you compete against each other?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. Every single day. It's more of her though. It's not me anymore.
Oh.
I'm washed up competitively, so I'm just
right.
I have nothing to do with that. Am I being competitive back then, like with stats and all that? That was kind of me flirting a little bit, but she don't really know that until now. But
there you go.
Yeah, we've had class together. We passed notes. Like I had more rebounds than you, stuff like that. You know, little slick stuff.
So now it's all Jenn.
Yeah. We're still competitive.
Absolutely.
As much as he does. And like we actually work together too. Yeah. So, we help students, and sometimes we'll compete. Like, I only have this many emails left. And he's like, well, I finished mine. And so then, it's like little things we compete at.
I'm not doing it on purpose though.
I am.
Telling you. Oh, see? There you go. Prove my point right there. There you go.
It keeps me motivated. Like it keeps me interested,
Yeah. That's good. And it adds an element of fun to your relationship, just something unique between the two of you, and something that you can always kind of toss in there just to mix things up every once in a while.
Yeah, exactly.
So the crazy thing is that, and it's the question that everyone is thinking that's listening right now, right? And that is, who's better at basketball?
Oh,
going to be 2 answers to that question.
But the real answer,
my wife is better than
me. Yes.
Okay.
We played one-on-one. And someone had to take a loss,
You took that L.
No, I mean, overall, he's definitely the better basketball player. He was he was getting recruited by D1s out of high school. He was like top player in New Jersey, but then he tore his ACL. So that's why we ended up both going to a D2 school together. But overall, he's definitely the better basketball player. I just beat him in 1-on-1, so he has no proof he's better than me.
Right. No, listen. So with that said, right now is you, sis.
Yes. And like rebounding in college, he broke the men's record and got 17 rebounds in a game. And then the next day I got 21. So that's where it's just like, he's a great player.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do this.
But when it comes to the boards, he's got some competition.
Yeah, I'm not doing this with you today.
Yeah.
Not long as it would need to be. I'm not gonna do it.
Well, thank you for sharing that little tidbit with us. That's good to know.
That was good. That was really.
I knew that question was coming. I just
you already know.
Yeah.
You knew it. I couldn't let that one slide.
I already know. And I was looking at you too, wondering if you
right. See, I wasn't even thinking it. It's all his fault.
Yeah, I knew it was coming. It's cool though.
All right, now, so on something that we had to deal with was, especially joining together, was our religious background, right? I was Catholic. She
grew up Pentecostal.
So it was an adjustment there. Did you guys have a similar adjustment on your end coming together?
Yeah.
I grew up Catholic. So that's all I ever was taught was what Catholicism is. And you grew up Baptist.
Yeah.
So it definitely was new for us. But like I said, at that time, we both we didn't have a relationship with God.
Yeah.
And like the way I grew up is like, religion was all about rules and Catholicism was all about this and saying these many prayers, and you can't truly be forgiven unless you confess to a priest, like those type of things. Like I never really felt like I had a close relationship with God. And like with you,
I mean, just growing up in the church, it was kind of the same way. I guess I would say it dictated down to rules and the way you looked and the way you sound. So I think God wasn't present in my life for a while because of that, and I didn't really understand. I didn't really understood what that looked like at first. But growing up now, I know it's about relationship and not religion. So that was kind of, I won't say it was kind of like a bad thing for our relationship. It was kind of us really sitting down and really, talking about what that would look like for our, our relationship and marriage. So
Yeah. And that for us, like that was, I'll say for me, when we were dating, you guys know we dated for 9 years before we got married. But throughout that, I was concerned about that. Like, when we come together, we have different ideals about who God is, or, I don't really know that I knew what the issue was. I just felt like, okay, we are both disconnected in that area, but also same, like we didn't really have a full understanding of that relationship with God, because again, he grew up in Catholicism, for being Pentecostal. The other thing is the difference in just the dynamics between the two, where for him going to mass, it was quiet. It's like stand up, sit down with the prayers, and I would be in there like, what do I do? Like, I want to clap, I want to sing, I want to, and everybody was quiet, and I was like, oh no. And then I would try to drag him to my church services, and he'd be like, get me out of here, because you got people shouting.
Listen, the same lady doing the same thing every church service,
right.
getting up in the Holy Ghost and stomping all over the place. I'm like, this ain't real.
I know those services.
And
absolutely.
Yeah. And it's like, that's what I grew up in. So it was like, okay. But at the same time, like it got to a point where like I was trying to force it on him. And really, my relationship wasn't right. For me, it was like, oh, we got to go to church. That's it. That's what I was trying to force on him. Not a relationship with God, but the doctrine and, like you said, the rules of this is how it's supposed to be. We're supposed to be here every Sunday, type of thing. And one day God was like, that's not your job. period. Like, you need to worry about yourself. And I got him just like I got you. And I feel like once that look at you with your sports
Sorry,
notifications.
My bad.
But it's like once I got that and I literally was like, Lord, I'm letting this go. And if we're meant to be together, then you're gonna work that out. And for a long time, and I was disconnected from the church just because of church hurt and different things that I saw and experienced where I just stopped going. So at one point there was nothing. And a few months after we got married, he woke up one day and was like, I think I want to go to church. And I was like, where you want to go? I'll go anywhere. Let's go. Because I was yearning for that. And it took us a few years trying different places because like we would try somewhere and he'd be like, yeah, I like that. And I'd be like, dog, I'm so bored. Like, we're not doing this. Ain't not even. And then we go somewhere I would enjoy it. He's like, oh, that was just too much. Like, I couldn't even understand what they were saying. They was hooting and hollering. And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, once we found Word of Life, it was like a breath of fresh air. And that's when we both really recommitted ourselves to the Lord. And, like you said, it's like to be able to do that together. Like you guys say, you got saved together, and to be in a space where you're both just chasing after Jesus. Like there's nothing like that, because then you start to see the growth in you as an individual, and that just brings you closer together as husband and wife.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we pretty much had that breakthrough. I give it all to her, because the one reason of why we kind of went into that next chapter of our relationship as far as God is concerned, she felt as though, and many men would probably take this as like my girlfriend or wife or whatever, she's like being weird, but she was like, there's something missing. Like, excuse me, there's something missing. As men, it's like, I thought I was the thing that was missing. So growing up, I would write the post like, God is this, I have got make it seem that, like, just growing up, just make it seem like he was always there. But that was the piece that was missing in me too. So when it first started with her, when that piece was missing from her, then I feel like God told me, like, I'm missing from you as well. So we just went down this road of where she was like, I need God in my life. And she's the reason we found Word of Life. It had nothing to do with me. I was in that mindset of like, I don't want to go to church. Church is the same thing. You go there every Sunday. You got to be this, you got to be that. Not knowing there's different churches out here in this world that don't act like that, or not like how, the services I'm used to. So she found Word of Life. We went there, and, from that point on, it was like, things were just started connecting. Questions that she had, we'll go to service and they'll be answered. It was like things that were just, he was just putting all the pieces of the puzzle together for us. So it was just amazing how, as far as that breakthrough was just going for our marriage and our relationship. So it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah,
absolutely. So another aspect that we had to deal with was just being an interracial couple, the different cultures, other people's perspectives of, what they thought was right, wrong, who should be with who, that type of stuff. And then just our cultures in general, like how we process things because of what we grew up in, or different ideas of how we were raised and things like that. Is that something that you guys have had to deal with at all throughout your relationship?
In the beginning, yeah, it was really tough. I feel like everybody had everything to say. Um, and they wasn't really benefiting our relationship. They just really had a lot of opinions. So I feel like that came more from some people in the background that really didn't know nothing about her or me, myself. And I mean, the main part was family, more of her family than mine. We ran into a really, really rough patch of something that I wasn't really used to. We dealt with a family member who didn't really accept me because of who I was. And it was really hard, because that was a really, really close family member for her before I came into the picture. So I feel like a couple years I had to deal with that. It was more of like, not wanting to get to understand and know who I was before, you made your judgment. And I guess he was brought up that way. And I can't change that if that's the way you were brought up. But It hurt me a lot just because it's like, you're judging me off the color of my skin. And you really don't know who I am yet. So that kind of hurt me the most. And then what really took it over the top was when she was getting affected by it. She had nothing. She didn't do anything to nobody. I didn't do anything. So that's when it was like, okay, we really need to come to a understanding here. Like, I'm not a bad person. I've never been in trouble, but I'm not going to be the person that's kind of like, I'm trying to suck up to you so you can accept me. I'm here for her. I'm not really here for you. So that was really one of the major ones. I mean, bringing her to like my hometown, we would get the looks and things like that. And again, people's opinions who knew me but didn't know her. Like those things, I can say they really hurt me because it wasn't fair. Like, it wasn't fair to me. It wasn't fair to her. Like, we didn't do nothing to nobody. But then it was like, we just let those things happen and we just let God take control of everything. Like, it didn't really matter what somebody said, how they felt. I have somebody mention before our wedding that it should have been them and not her. Like, it's like, all right, well,
oh wow,
well, God didn't orchestrate it that way. So
I know that's right.
I don't know what to tell you, but yeah, we've dealt with a few things that we don't really talk about because we just gave it to God. And it's like, it's not in our control anyway. People are going to say what they want to say. They're going to react the way they want to react. And, everything around the world is just judgmental anyway. So, we got to the point where we just let people say what they wanted to say, and it's not affecting our marriage because we're still married. So,
yeah, we noticed, honestly, we didn't really start running into issues until we started getting closer to the Lord. Yeah. And that's where we knew the enemy was using people to attack us.
Absolutely.
And that's, even though it was upsetting, it also was like confirmation for us, like, hey, we're doing something right here.
That's right.
we started, we weren't celibate. And then once we did get saved, we decided we were going to be celibate until we got married. And that's when the attacks really started happening. And like you said, my family member, we got to the point where it's like, you know what? We're just not going to go to family functions until, he works out whatever he needs to work out with the Lord. So, and that overall brought us a lot of peace. Like, God answered a lot of our questions and we saw blessings, and it's just so many things that had happened in that period. Like, the photographer for our wedding, Nina, she goes to Word of Life as well.
Oh, yeah.
She reached out to us and said she wanted to shoot our wedding for free. And at the time, we needed it. Like, we were, just graduating college and get our feet wet, get our feet started, all that. So it was just, God was using people to bless us, even though the enemy was using people to attack us. So, but yeah, we definitely did see, a lot more attacks once we were public with our relationship, and we noticed mainly it was from people that didn't have a close relationship with God. Anyone that had a close relationship with God treated us just like brothers and sisters.
Right, as they should.
Yeah. But then we noticed that the attacks were coming, from left field, from people we didn't know, or the people that we did know that really weren't close with God and stuff like that. So that really helped us. That really helped us stay focused and not let those attacks affect us. And it honestly brought us closer together.
Yeah. And that's really important. Like, it's important when you're able to acknowledge what that is. You know what I mean? Like, because that's what the enemy does. Like, he tries to be sneaky and go in roundabout ways to kind of divide us, in any relationship. You know what I mean? And that division, we have to be able to look at it as what it is. Like, this is not about me. It's not about that person. It's about, what the enemy wants to do to deter us from moving in the way that God wants us to move. You know what I mean? And when you're able to be clear about that and have that relationship with God, and he's able to show you that, you're able to handle it differently. You know what I mean?
I think once you make that covenant with your spouse in front of the Lord, sometimes you do have to draw that line in the sand and say, even with family members, and so that they can understand, like, this is where my family is now. This is my family. Like, I love you, and you're still my blood, but this is my family now. Like I'm starting a family here. And sometimes you have to draw that line in the sand so that they can see what's really happening, because even though they're family, sometimes they can try it and try to do things that families shouldn't do. So,
and God will give us the wisdom and, the words to be able to do that with love. You know what I mean? Where you can be like, all right, it's enough. Enough is enough.
Yeah.
I love you, but I'm gonna love you from over here until you get your life together,
Yeah.
So
that's where we got. Yeah.
Yeah.
We started praying for like my family member. Like we didn't get to see them a lot, but then it made us pray for them more and more and more. And then it was like the summer before we got married, we went on this family vacation trip with my mom's whole side of the family, which we haven't done in 15 years.
Wow.
And on the trip, it was like the last night. He was there. We stayed in different houses, but the whole time, like at every family function, he wouldn't even speak to me or to him.
Wow.
And it was like we were walking back from the beach, or we were walking back to our houses, and he went out of his way to start talking to Shai, and everyone was shocked because my mom has a bunch of siblings, and he's one of the youngest ones, and everyone was on board but him. So it was such an awesome thing to happen, to see him actually going out of his way to talk to Shai and get to know him. And we all just kind of like walked ahead of them, so they had their own space to talk.
Yeah.
It was super weird.
Yeah.
They made it awkward.
Yeah. Super awkward. But with that, I think that was a fight that I didn't know how to fight without God. So I think all those situations, even when we first got started, like there wouldn't have been a correct way for me to put somebody in their place without him. So I think I would have been out of line on many instances if it wasn't for him. So I think I didn't fight those battles before because I didn't know how to, but now it's like, God bless you, go about your business, and we'll stay over here and do what we got going. Especially now we got little one on the way. I really don't have time for anything.
I know that's right.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of the little one on the way, so did you guys have differences in opinions on like how, and I'm sure this is some of the stuff you figure out when she gets here, but based off of discussions that you've had so far and based off of your background and how you were raised, did you have like any major difference in opinions of like how you're going to raise your child or child rearing or anything like that?
Yeah. But I think with our conversations, we almost have come to a mutual understanding, I guess. I guess me growing up was a lot different. Like, to be, blatantly honest, I got whoopings growing up. Okay. So,
yes, sir.
And I think with her side of the family, they do timeouts and all this stuff. So, and I know what that is, but I've never gotten that before. So I try to explain it. It is not like, okay, I just want to beat my child to beat my child. Like that's not the case.
Right.
I'm never going to do that. And I've never got that done. I just got whoopings for misbehaving. So, but I think with her is going to be totally different. It's going to be learning lessons for her. Like I really think, especially because it's a girl and I'm a girl dad, so I'm gonna be more sensitive than anything.
Right.
But yeah, we've sat down and had those discussions because there's a lot in this world that we really need to be on point with. With the foundation of who Christ is, that's going to be what she's going to learn first before anything. Forget whatever else is going on. Her foundation is going to be set from the rip. So I think that's mainly our conversation right now. But I think with everything else, we have come to a mutual understanding about my thought, maybe.
No, I
don't know
agree.
if I'm correct or not.
I agree. Like we honestly did grow up differently. But once we found the Lord, like he really opened our eyes that, some of the things that we grew up with isn't what he really wants.
Yeah.
And it was like breaking certain things that we both, we were used to. So like even, God says, spare the rod, save the child type of thing. So that's where it was like, I got beat sometimes, but it was more a timeout. And that's where,
You don't know no
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
know what a beating is.
I don't know all that, but
She might have
but
got popped, not Shy, but
yeah,
she might
she
have got popped.
put in the corner. It was okay.
yeah, maybe a few times.
Yeah, I got sent to the room and wait for Mama to come there, and she didn't come until the next day. Don't worry.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, overall with discipline, that was the big one we wanted to get down packed before. So there
Mhm.
wasn't any questions when it was time to start disciplining her.
Yeah.
And but overall it's been awesome to see how God has kind of opened our eyes to you know, things that how we should handle things, and like how we should show love and all that stuff. Like I definitely grew up in a different household. I had both of my parents there, but overall they didn't follow the Lord. They didn't have a close relationship with him. They grew up just like their parents grew up, having to go to church, but didn't really know what they knew the Bible, but they didn't know God.
Mhm.
So that's where when they raised us, it was the same thing. We go to church. You're going to go to First Communion. You're going to go through all of that, all the rules, all the things that you're supposed to go
Right.
through, and then after that, you know, that's pretty much it. But when it came to like the household, we never got together to worship. We never got together to read the Bible, to just to have time together with the Lord.
Yeah.
And little things like that, I noticed that that would have helped me. But I mean, at the end of the day, I thank God that He revealed it to me, that that's something that I want to have with my child and my children, and same thing for him. Like he wants to have that too. So
Yeah.
it's definitely it feels like a lot of pressure, but at the end of the day, we know that God will guide us. So I think it's just not knowing, like we don't really have control to an extent, but we really don't. So that's
Yep.
just where yeah, as far as growing up, the way it's been difficult to try to see what you grew up with as normal and what God wants might not be the same thing. So that's
Right.
just praying that He
Absolutely.
reveals it to us. Yeah.
Yeah. We are the exact same. So
Mhm.
she grew up and she got some whippings, you
Mhm.
know.
Not too much because I was a good girl most of the
Got
time.
some whippings.
But yes,
So
that's
for
what
me, it wasn't that my parents were opposed to whippings. It's that I was the youngest child and I was the only boy.
so he got away with everything.
So my
Oh, yeah.
sisters got smacked with flip-flops. They got smacked with all types of stuff. They got theirs.
Okay.
Rightfully so, because they were bad, right?
Yeah.
I wasn't a bad child. I mean, I did some things that probably deserved a beating, but I didn't get a beating. I was spoiled. I got away with everything. So that was the same thing for us. And I think with our boys, it was kind of an adjustment for us, kind of, you know, she ready to fly off the
I'm
handle. And
ready
I'm
to
like,
fight.
hey,
Like,
calm down. Like, it's
like
not
this is
that
what we doing.
serious. Like,
Square up, kid.
you
Like,
know, right. She's ready. She's on go. Right. So it took time for us to kind of, you know, find that middle ground that we can navigate. And then as our children have gotten older, trying to build that safe space to have the communication for them. You know what I mean? We don't want, like, for me, my parents. My father was amazing. God rest his soul. My mother is a saint. God, I love her to death. But they weren't present in certain aspects of my life. So, you know, like educationally, they weren't worried about me getting my homework done. They didn't care. They didn't know. You know, my mom didn't finish high school, you know, back in that time it was common for that to happen. Um my dad went to school and did all types of stuff and got all types of things, and he would tell me the importance of it, but it wasn't like he was there like, hey, you need to get this done, you need to get that done. So trying to for my son, I'm trying to be more present, you know. Thank God for her, because she's a lot more present than I am.
well, and sometimes I need to sit back and
Sometimes she does. I mean, I have a little bit more patience than she does, though. So
yeah.
just trying to find that middle ground
Yeah.
for us has been, you know, where we're trying to get to.
And I think it's great that you guys have had those conversations as you're preparing for the baby to come. I think we may have had some of those conversations, but a lot of people don't even think about it. It's like the baby comes and then something happens and you're like, what you doing?
Yeah.
Like, don't,
Right.
that's not how we handling this. And you're like, what you
Yeah.
mean? Yeah, that is how we handle so to have those conversations in advance, I think is really, really important. And then also as she grows and as you guys grow and mature, to be open to having to shift and bend. Cause it's like with our first son, he was one way and was like, all right, cool, we got this down pat. And then Justin came along. We were like, what? What
He
is
was
wrong?
like,
No,
"Dude."
wait. We thought we had this figured out.
Yeah.
And then it's like, finally, we think, okay, we got them both figured out. And now puberty's hit with the oldest. And we're like, bro, I don't know who you think you are, but I will come across this table.
Well, that's
like,
her.
all right, yes, I. You have your moments
I
too.
mean, he's scared of me, so.
So it's like, it's great to have those conversations and to be open to, just change, because as they're growing, we're also growing. And, as they get older and we get older, there's certain things that I made out of tolerated back then that now I'm just like, girl, pick your battles.
Yeah.
It is not that serious. Don't stress yourself out over it, so that's really cool that you guys have had those conversations.
Yeah.
And that's, I'm sure, going to be extremely helpful once the baby gets here and as you're going through each stage in her life. So that's awesome.
I think it's important to have a conversation like that. I guess for me, because I was in that single parent household. So as a new dad, I don't want to be that dad that's trying to, oh, I want to be here because my dad wasn't, stuff like that. Because that's how it was. That was the mindset. I wanted a child so bad because I wanted to show my dad what, stuff like that. And God is like, hold on, slow down for a second. That's not the reason why you bring a child into this world. So because I don't want to be taking something out on her when I'm just thinking of my dad. So it's like that's really not it. So now it's like, okay, now I've learned growing up what to do and what not to do. So now, I got people like Jose, Brandon, people like that I can be like, hey, listen, what did you do here that you think I can do? And they give me the same answer. I can't give you advice, but whatever. Yeah, I think it's really. And I think for me, that's the most important part because of how I was brought up. Like Mom Dukes, brought me up well, but I guess boys need that father figure. So I just think with us having a baby girl, it's going to be totally different. I think whatever, if it was a boy or a girl, it really didn't matter. I just don't want that mindset to be taken from what I went through. So I don't want her dealing with what I went through, just like you say, being present. I think now that's really what my mindset is. I just want to be present, health wise, everything. I just want to be there.
Yeah, and it's a blessing that God has revealed that, like you said earlier, Jen. That you're able to see those things and be mindful of them, because that is what is going to continue to guide you every step of the way.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. Let me ask you guys about this. This.
Which one?
Let me ask you guys about this. How do you guys do holidays?
Yeah. So, and you, we're not trying to scare you in any way, right? Because the baby is coming. So it's going to be a little different once the baby gets there, right?
Yes.
But like, I know for us, it was like crazy because they did things one way, we did things a completely different way, and then everyone wants to celebrate. So it's like,
and everybody's pulling and tugging.
Yeah, you coming over. So it's like we had to get to a point where it was like, all right, listen. All right, we'll be there for this one, and we will be there for that one, and this that's one,
we ain't doing nothing. Leave us alone.
But that was what we had to do to get to it. But did you have that, or have you had anything like that?
This is probably the easiest question that we're going to answer because my family don't do anything. So her family plans a month in advance and all that stuff. Planning something in my family is bound to get canceled. So that's just that's just how that goes. I mean, some stuff will happen, really depending on what it is, but we may have that situation once she gets here. Everybody's gonna want to see the baby, so let's do this stuff. But like during our marriage and relationship, no, we really didn't have that problem. But it was more of like her family wanted to do a bunch. I mean, they still want to do a bunch. It's like they want to do something every single year for something. So, which is cool. I mean, you just want to be around family, feel that love and all that good stuff. But once she gets
Yes.
here, it's like, all right, let's not do so much for the
Mhm.
first 5 years. How about that? So,
Yeah.
5 years.
Yes.
Yeah, because his brother has his own business with his wife, so they're busy, and his
Mhm.
mom is she's single mom, and she just bought her own house, and so she's definitely been working a lot just to make sure she can be well taken care of. So it's like they work a lot. So and I that's something that I noticed, and it's something that we had to kind of deal with because originally when we first started dating, it's like, okay, each holiday will alternate. So this Christmas will go to your family's, next Christmas will go to mine.
Mhm.
And that's, we thought we had it all planned out. And then we're reaching out to his family like, hey, whose house are we going to? And they're like, yeah, we don't think we're going to do anything. So it
Right.
just, it was upsetting, to be honest, because like we do want to get with his family.
Mhm.
And there's been times where like we hosted Thanksgiving and they ended up coming. It was a great time. But it's definitely stuff if we don't plan, then it's probably not going to happen. So
you got to plan that like months in advance.
yeah, just because of their schedules.
Just typical people with kids and stuff like that. But I think that started once I like got out of college and all that stuff. Like, I'm done. I got you through college. You be your own person.
Right.
You don't really have to do much.
You're married, and
you're married. Call me when you need me. We ain't gotta do everything, which is cool. Which I mean, it's not a bad thing. Everybody has their own situation. They're busy, but you want that family time. So hopefully baby girl brings everybody together, which
that's what we're
pretty
praying.
sure that's what she's going to do anyway.
Well,
so.
Of course.
I was gonna say babies have a tendency to do that.
Yep.
So
yeah,
that's what we're praying for.
It'll happen.
Yeah.
It'll happen. Guaranteed. I know for us, one of the things. So when we were still dating, this was pretty early on, like maybe a few years in or whatever, a couple years in. And one Thanksgiving, I went to your house, to your mom's. And I was so upset because like they had Puerto Rican food, they had Spanish food. And I was like, can I get some mashed potatoes and gravy and some greens? Like, can I get turkey with the gravy and the
Nah.
Bro, when I tell you I was hot, honey, hot.
You got you got some rice, some beans.
I was like, but we just had this for the regular dinner the other day.
Shai,
like
you taste. Hey, you tasted mom's rice and beans.
Listen,
you know what it is.
Don't play mom's rice and beans. Snack. That thing is amazing. However,
baby shower. Absolutely.
On we got you.
Just let me know.
Ordering. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. However, on Thanksgiving Day, honey, I need sweet. That was really, there was no sweet potatoes. I almost died, y'all.
The only time they got sweet potatoes is when she makes them.
Yep. Because listen, I learned my lesson though. After that, even if somebody in his family hosted, I was bringing sweet potatoes. Like I was gonna have sweet potatoes, and now like when we host, we're gonna have greens. So y'all can bring everything else, but we're gonna have a turkey with some gravy, mashed potatoes, sweet potatoes, and
baked mac and cheese.
Mac and cheese. But I'm okay without that, but not the other stuff. So for me, like that was like culture shock. I was like, what are y'all doing? It's Thanksgiving. Like
it was like it was Puerto Rican Thanksgiving, Americanized a little bit. Like she has stuffing and pumpkin pie.
And pumpkin pie.
Like
no sweet potatoes or sweet potato pie, but pumpkin pie. I was upset.
But we would be bouncing around houses, like go from my house, then we drive all the way to Chester and go to like 2 or 3 houses there, and then it got to a point once the kids came, once Julius came, we did it 1 year. And I had to keep taking the car seat out and going in this out, take the car seat out, going this out. I was like, we're not doing this no more.
Nope.
That's it.
Yeah.
They want to see him or they want to see us, they're going to come to us to do that.
Yeah. The food was a culture shock too. Not even going to lie.
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna lie. It was the same menu, so to speak, but the seasonings just wasn't there. A lot of,
and it was a culture. It was a big shock for me too, because I got so used, like my roommates, like they would cook for me all the time in college, and I would go over his mom's house. She'd cook for us, and I started like learning how to cook myself, and they were teaching me. And at that point, I was like, I really like to cook. So my family hosted Thanksgiving and we went over. And I didn't even realize it, but at the time it's like they never had mashed potato, or they never had mac and cheese. They didn't have sweet potatoes. Like it was turkey, mashed potatoes, corn, gravy, pumpkin pie. It was and then my aunt started bringing like kale. So
it was probably sauteed kale with a couple of.
So then after that, I decided like, okay, every time we go, I'm bringing like I brought mac and cheese. Like I brought my one roommate with me, and she made the mashed potatoes, and
they were upset about that.
Yeah, they were upset because she put garlic powder. And
I'm like, you'd be mad at flavor.
So then after that, it's like, you know what? We're just so that's when we decided we were going to host Thanksgiving, and if they wanted to come, they can. But
so I get it. You just don't got no seasoning.
But yeah. they ain't had no Lowry seasoned salt.
They ain't no black pepper, no nothing. I'm like, Lord have mercy. Just throw a little salt in there, something. Give me something. This lack of seasoning is just not it. My goodness.
It was honestly, it was embarrassing, but that's what I grew up on, so I never realized, it could taste better until
got that flavor, honey.
Yeah, until I got the flavor. So then
turkey just looking just tan.
Still going over there.
Sorry, go ahead.
Turkey was just tan.
It's just tan, bro. Like, oh my goodness. Bringing back bad flashbacks. I'll just Lord.
Breaking out the sweats over there.
Yeah, Thanksgiving around the corner too. Lord have mercy. You gotta do it right.
Oh man.
Yeah, I mean, COVID honestly, like COVID shut a lot of stuff down. So then that allowed us to have our own Thanksgiving and stuff like that, which was nice.
Yeah.
And now it's to the point where I prefer my food over others, which
makes sense.
Yeah, which makes sense. But now, I'm due next month. It's just like I don't think I want to take on, a whole thing again. So that's where we're at now. But I mean, overall, the culture, we definitely had to adjust. But thankfully, looking at the bright side of COVID, it kind of helped us not have to travel a lot. Like we were able to just enjoy our marriage and like the first couple of years of our marriage together and celebrate holidays together, which was nice.
Yeah. See, I think COVID this last 2 years, we hear a lot about the negative aspects, but we don't hear a lot of that about how it did bring people together and how it helped people kind of reevaluate their lives and what was important in their lives and make major changes. I know that definitely happened for us, even regarding like our careers and the time we're putting in, and where it got to a point where I was like, why am I doing this? Like, this is not my kids important. Me being here for my kids is important. And when it comes to like the environment you're in at your job, like, am I really being treated like, I'm an asset, or am I pouring my life and my heart and my time and my energy out to them, and my kids and my family are getting the reserves? Like, so COVID during that time, I think it really allowed people to reevaluate some things and really look at what's important in our lives, and find new ways to really spend time together, and enjoy each other and really grow together. So that's a blessing.
Yeah,
it's a blessing. So our last question,
we like to end our last question with our couples on asking each of you, what was your favorite date night or trip?
And we do this just to give some of our listeners some ideas. We understand how important dating each other is, especially after you get married, not forgetting to date each other. So we do this just to share some new ideas. So it could be anything from when you were dating until now. One of your favorite date nights.
Oh man. I say my favorite was our honeymoon. We went on a cruise from Miami to the Bahamas, and it was just awesome just to get it, especially when you go to the Bahamas. It's a different culture, and we got to experience that together. Like we both were the oddballs. Like for so long, either I was the one that was comfortable or he was the one that was comfortable. But then like we went there and we both were like, wow, this is new for both of us. So that was really cool, just being able to explore together. And yeah, we came back to Miami, and we were in South Beach, and it was just awesome. Just me and him, just being able to travel together. We've gone on a bunch of like little getaways, and all of them have been great. But I think my top moment was probably the cruise in Miami.
Yeah,
Okay.
That would be number one for me. But I think I would say our recent trip to Niagara Falls. That was supposed to be like a secret, and I can't hold my mouth for nothing. But
he's not good with surprises.
Yeah, I accidentally said it on that. The whole thing. But yeah, Niagara Falls would be probably, other than the Bahamas, that was going to be the one I was going to say. But yeah, like we did so much on that trip, and it was like the time that we went, she was going through a lot. We was trying to get pregnant. That whole story, like everything was just a roller coaster. Everything was just stressful. So it was like, let's take a weekend, let's just get away. It's stress free, just relax. And I love Niagara Falls. Like it's amazing just to be by that water and just to witness God's creation. Like that's just really what that is. So that would be one. I mean, we, just like you said, we took so many little trips, but that one was like a key one for me, just to see the smile on her face, just to get away. And then, like I said, I can't keep my mouth shut. So
yeah, that was great. He was so excited to surprise me.
Yeah.
And I really felt bad. I was trying not to ask questions. Like I really wanted him to be able to surprise me. And like I think we were on the phone, and I was like, well, we can my mom wants to know if we can do this in 2 weekends. He said, oh no, we're gonna be in New York that weekend. And I was like, we're gonna be where? And he was like, don't worry about it. But honestly, it was we were, during COVID and all that, we were going through infertility. Like we've been trying to have a baby for a long time, and
the doctor's appointment.
Yeah, and
so I'm like, yeah, we ain't gonna miss the doctor's appointment. We'll be in New York. I'm like, wait a minute, fine. then the little fibs just started. Yeah, we're gonna be in Manhattan. Yeah, Staten Island, probably. Yeah, somewhere around there. I felt so it's bad. Like, who just goes to New York to go to? Yeah,
yeah. He did. It was awesome. It was definitely like not having to worry about planning. Like he took it all over. He just wanted me to enjoy myself and enjoy our marriage, and it was awesome. That honestly was like the most. Yeah, that was the most romantic trip, even though the honeymoon was great, but the fact that he took all that time to plan and did that just to help me feel better was definitely a blessing. Like that was awesome.
Good job, Shai.
Thanks a lot, Shai. Way to put pressure on your boy over here.
Don't do that, bro. We can take a trip together. How about that?
Hey, I'm the same way though. I can't hold any, like, I'll get her a present and I'll be like, you want to know what I got you?
Like, don't check the bank account. Don't open the Amazon package. Okay. Yeah. Like, do I ever open anything that has your name on it? So now I know it's free for me, but thank you anyway.
I can't.
I had to take her name off stuff. I had to take her name off the bank accounts, credit card. I had to take off everything. I couldn't feel colder. Oh my goodness gracious. This is just terrible.
Oh, it's the thought that counts, and you put in the effort. We appreciate you both for doing that.
And so this is, I think, so for 2 seasons now, I think this is the 4th time someone said a cruise was one of their favorite.
Don't
trips.
Start. I feel
just
that.
throwing it out there. Just
I feel
that.
Don't look at me like that.
I heard the discussion of a cruise for y'all before. I think we were talking about
Stop
that.
playing.
Yeah, just Eminem.
But you don't like cruises? Yeah, but you don't
it's not that I don't like cruises. It's that he keeps putting out there that millennium marriage is about to be going on a cruise, and he ain't the one who's gonna be planning it.
Wait a minute, because we are in freedom right now, and there is power in words. I am just speaking it. I'm putting it into existence.
That's right. Yeah, you can't do nothing with that. See,
you can't say nothing.
Don't encourage his nonsense. Don't.
That's a great idea. That's a really, really good idea. And
It
we
is
can
a
help.
wonderful idea.
If you need help planning, I'm your guy. I'm just saying.
He loves planning.
Okay. Listen, you're like the third millennial marriage couple who has said that. So listen, when I'm calling out on y'all, be like, all right, who's on the committee?
I got you. You know, with this attitude, I got the boat and everything. Marinated seeds.
You got it right in the backyard.
I'm ready. Whatever you need.
Oh my
All right, folks. Well, you heard it here once
Yes.
again. I think this is like the third, a couple times in the first season, and now again. Apparently, millennial marriage is going on a cruise. Hopefully next year, but
Royal Caribbean, if you are listening,
we're taking sponsorships.
yeah, if you
and
want to
all
sponsor
that.
our trip, you are more than welcome to.
Yes, give us a call, email.
Start tagging them with some TikToks. We got you. Yes, absolutely.
All right, okay.
There you go.
Sponsorship. Yes.
All right, you guys. Well, we really, really appreciate both of you. We appreciate you being transparent and just sharing your journey with us, a little bit of your lives, and sharing with the people.
Yeah.
Because the whole point of all of this is so that we can encourage other people who may be facing some of the same things and not sure how to address it. And like we said, a lot of people don't talk about these things.
Absolutely.
So we want to talk about it because the only way we're going to grow and learn is by being open and transparent and supporting each other through it. So we appreciate you both for being willing to do that. We love you guys.
Yes.
And
Love
thank
you
you
too.
so much.
Thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you. We appreciate you guys asking us to come here. It means a lot.
Yes.
Awesome. So until next time, everybody, stay encouraged and continue to invest in each other for a marriage that lasts a lifetime. See y'all later.
Peace out.
If you enjoyed our podcast, please subscribe and share. Keep up with us on social media at Millennium Marriage and visit our website at millenniummarriage.com.